You're listening to the Modern Mom and Dad podcast, a modern take on marriage, relationships, parenting, life, and so much more. Before we get started with today's episode, if you've experienced pregnancy loss or miscarriage, this episode might be triggering.
Welcome back to the Modern Mom and Dad podcast. I'm your host, Ty.
And I'm your other host, Caitlyn. And we missed last week's episode. We deeply apologize about that.
I apologize for missing. It was just a chaotic week.
Yeah, we'll explain here in a second, but we definitely had a very eventful week, and it caused us to miss our uploading schedule. Today's episode is going to be all about marriage tips. We have some really good marriage tips that we wanted to kind of talk with you guys about and share our perspective on. And I feel like they're pretty unique marriage tips. I don't think they're, well, some of them. They're not necessarily your
Some
traditional.
of them are kind of your typical stuff you hear, but some of them aren't.
They're not like, what are some of them? Like, don't go to bed angry at your spouse, or don't leave without saying goodbye, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're not so generic. They're a little bit more in-depth. So we want to talk with you guys about that today. But first, let's give an update as to what has been going on the past,
Couple weeks.
2 weeks, I think, since we
posted,
recorded our last
our
last episode.
So when did everything start? I'm
So
trying to think.
first of all, I mean, if you follow along with our other socials, you kind of know what's going on. But for those of you who don't, we'll give kind of just like a rundown of what happened. And first of all, our baby is totally okay. Baby is healthy. Baby is fine. But we did have quite the scare. It was last Monday. So
Okay, it was. Yeah, Monday. That's right.
yeah, so I was sitting at my computer and, well, okay, hold on. A couple of days before this, we were in the ER for Scarlett because, sorry, I'm not laughing because that's funny, but.
Yeah. Well, it was more like the urgent care, but it happened to be like the ER.
No,
as well.
we went to urgent care and then they said the ER is going to be faster at seeing her.
And then
She had strep throat.
Yeah,
Ultimately, it's ultimately why we were there.
she had scarlet fever and strep throat,
And
which
strep
was
throat.
ironic because that's her name. So it's like, but she's fine. We got her on antibiotics.
Yeah, she had a really high fever, and that is, she
Yeah.
was getting disoriented, and it was freaking us
Yeah,
out.
she fell asleep on the couch, and yeah, it kind of gave us a scare because I went to wake her up, and she was just like disoriented and out of it, and I was like, yeah, we got to go to the hospital.
Yeah, we wanted to get her checked out because my family, we had, my cousin actually passed away from developing a form of strep, and it's something we don't take lightly here in our family at all.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as she showed signs of that, we wanted to definitely get her checked out just to be safe.
Yeah,
But,
she was real red, and her fever was like 104.
yeah.
I mean, she was kind of bundled up, like on the couch, like a bunch of blankets and stuff when we took that temperature, so that probably...
It was still high
It was
regardless.
very high. Yeah, it was very high.
Yeah, but anyway, she's totally fine now. But so that happened, and then a couple of nights later, like, what was it, like 3 nights later,
I think it was only 2 nights.
2 nights
later.
later.
Yeah, it was like 2 ER visits in 3 days.
Yeah, I was sitting at my computer, and I, at that time, was 6 weeks and 5 days pregnant? 6 weeks and 4 days pregnant.
6 weeks, 4 days.
Yeah, 6 weeks, 4 days, that's right. And I felt a gush, and I reached my hand down in my pants and felt what was going on. I pulled my hand out, and there was blood on my hand. And I immediately was like, no, like, this can't be happening. I just felt like we were miscarrying our pregnancy, and so I yelled for Ty. And
because we've been there before, like with our first pregnancy before Scarlett.
Yeah, we have.
Same type of thing.
Yeah, it was earlier on, though, with Scarlett.
But, yeah,
well,
this
before
is
Scarlett.
different with IVF and stuff, but...
Yeah, so anyways, I was bleeding, and we were in the process of transitioning to my OB from our IVF clinic, and I called both doctor's office, so our IVF doctor and then also our OB. Our OB called us back and said, hey, like, just go to the ER to get checked out. So we did, and the whole way there, we were like...
I was in a
preparing.
bad spot, for
Yeah.
sure. I was like, for sure, it's a miscarriage. I didn't think
Me
there was much
too.
hope that it was okay.
No, I was talking to my mom, and she's like, just, like, have hope, like, things happen, everything could be fine, and I'm like, no, this is it, this is over, we've experienced this before, this isn't normal, and I think we were just, like, preparing for the worst, and we went to the ER mainly because we just wanted closure. Like, we just wanted them to tell us, you know, that this is what's happening, and we weren't expecting to hear any good news at all.
Yeah, and then we were at the hospital for 4
hours.
4 hours where they took your blood, urine.
They did a pelvic exam, and ultimately, they took me back for an ultrasound, and Ty couldn't come with me. And during the ultrasound, the tech can't tell you anything, so you're laying there while she knows everything, and you know nothing, and
yeah, because ultrasound techs know, it's just they're not doctors, so they can't. Right. They have to tell the doctor what's going on. The doctor looks at it and then tells you.
Yeah, but they know what's going on, and it's so hard. And it was like a 30-minute ultrasound. I was just laying there, and during my ultrasound, I don't think I told you this, one of the doctors from our IVF clinic called, and I was talking to them on my watch because I didn't have my phone with me, so she, like, heard the conversation and everything. I think she could tell, like, how worried I was and everything, but, you know, she can't say anything. But as soon as she left, because they had me undress to do the ultrasound, and then I had to get dressed again. Ty knows this part, but he didn't know when I got the phone call. Yeah. But, anyways, when I was getting dressed after the ultrasound was complete, she left the screen up, and
then Caitlyn snapped a picture of it and sent it to me.
I went over to the screen to look because I'm like, did they find a heartbeat? Like, she seemed so happy. You could just tell. Like, you could tell her demeanor was not, like...
Yeah, that's what you said.
She seemed in good spirits.
You were telling me that it was, like, she seemed, like, not, like...
Sad.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you'd be able to tell.
You're about to get some bad news. But, yeah, you said she was kind of upbeat and, like, nice.
Yeah, and kept asking me questions about, like, my first pregnancy and IVF. And I'm like, why do you keep asking me these questions? Like, it's going to be really hard to talk about if, you know, our pregnancy is ending. But anyways, I went over to the screen and looked. And sure enough, there's, you know, during a ultrasound, they have to, like, put in the heartbeat, if there's a heartbeat. Like, there's, like, sections to fill in everything, like, measurements and stuff. And I saw there was not only a measurement of the baby, but there was also a number written in for the heartbeat.
Yeah, it's like 126 or 28 or something
126.
Like that. Yeah.
So that means they found a heartbeat. And this is the first time, like, we had ever seen a heartbeat. Like, our baby had a heartbeat because we hadn't had an ultrasound to diagnose that. Not diagnose, but to find that yet.
We had the ultrasound, but like several days prior, but they weren't really looking for that.
They were just looking for placement. Yeah.
And they didn't say anything about the heartbeat. And it
was too early.
It was probably too early,
Yeah. But needless to say, there was a heartbeat. And I was freaking out at that point because I'm like, wait a second. So the baby is there? The baby is okay? Like, there is a heartbeat? I'm not miscarrying? What is going on?
What else was on there? The heartbeat and then
just
the measurements.
The measurement.
Yeah,
of the
and
baby.
she was measuring like
just
2 days less than what we had figured, but they said that's totally normal.
Yeah, because with IVF, you know your exact date. Like, I know I'm exactly 7 weeks, 4 days pregnant today, I think. And we know that's exact because of the IVF process.
She even said, the doctor said that the measurements can be off too.
Yeah.
And it, like, will vary. Like, a millimeter
can make a day's different, like a couple days difference.
Yeah, exactly. A couple days difference. So.
Right. But anyways, I am so excited. I'm like, what the heck? So I take a picture of it so I can, like, show proof to Ty when I see him. And I get dressed, I get back on the bed, and they wheel me back to our triage room. And I'm like, Ty, I think there's a baby.
Yeah, so then...
And I think he has a heartbeat.
Then our, like, demeanor changed, and we're like, maybe we're okay. You know, maybe this is, like, not that big of a deal. And we had heard from other people, like, family members, they're like, oh, yeah, like, I bled, you know, and, you know, this pregnancy or that pregnancy. So we kind of, like, we're like, maybe everything's okay.
We had hope again.
And there's funny parts and everything, but the funny part was that we're in the ER forever. You know, it feels like an eternity. We were there for 4 hours total, I think, when it was all said and done. But we're sitting there, and Caitlin's like, I have to go to the bathroom. And there's a bathroom, like, right in front of where we were, a little curtain in the ER room. And then I was like, as soon as you get up and go to the bathroom, the doctor's going to come. And we'd been waiting for
results.
30, 45 minutes after the ultrasound. And sure enough, as soon as Caitlyn went, the doctor poked her head in. I was like, oh, she just left, but she'll be done any second. And the doctor's like, I'll be back in a couple minutes. I was like, no, like,
yeah, I know.
Come on.
And then I get back in the room, and he's like, I'm not even messing with you. Like,
we just
laughed.
Just here.
We just laughed.
But she came right back like 2 minutes later, so it wasn't a big deal. I thought we were like the doctor's going to get pulled away, and then
I know, same.
we're going to be there for another 30 minutes.
Like, great, we've been waiting, and the second I leave. But anyways, I was diagnosed with a subchorionic hematoma. So we've actually had a follow-up ultrasound since the ER visit, and I have...
And that basically means it's like a blood clot in her uterus.
Yeah, so I have like a inch-sized, like a golf ball-sized blood clot in my uterus that is so far not affecting the baby, and apparently these are really common with IVF pregnancies. There's also a lot of women who get these who did not go through IVF.
Yeah, just normal pregnancies.
Yeah. And the chance of having a successful pregnancy in like a healthy born baby is higher than having a miscarriage. So we do have a huge chance of this all being totally fine in the end. Mm-hmm. But we do have a heightened chance for miscarriage too, because this could potentially affect the baby and the growth of the baby. But as of now, we're just going to take our blessings for what we can, and the baby's healthy, the baby's fine and growing just fine. And
the fact that the baby has a heartbeat just by itself like
decreases
your statistical statistics to have a miscarriage by like down to like below 10%. So
yeah,
that's definitely promising, but we're not out of the
and we know that the
but
embryo's like genetically normal, which is another risk for miscarriage. So
miscarriages are so more common than
they are.
People.
Yeah.
I think a lot of women probably have miscarriages, and they just think it's their like a heavy period or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's like very, very early miscarriages.
Right. Yeah, no, totally. But yeah, I mean, everything is fine for now, and we go back in less than 2 weeks for another ultrasound to see how everything's going. But my bleeding only lasted for 24 hours, and I haven't bled since, and I don't know if I will. Like, I feel like I will, but maybe not.
They said you might, but your body might absorb most of it. So hopefully that happens. I don't know, sooner rather than later. Hopefully it doesn't get any bigger.
That was a shock for us because we were fully expecting to walk into the ER and get told bad news.
Yeah, I was definitely like not in a good spot. I was very pessimistic about it. Like, he
was struggling. I feel like you were handling it worse than I was. Not in a bad way, but it was.
I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like you were.
I was
holding it more within.
You were sad. I was mad.
Yeah, you were mad. So, I remember being in the ER and I was so hungry and I'm like, why am I still feeling all of these symptoms? Like, I feel pregnant.
When you said like your boobs still.
My boobs were still sore.
Like sore and like.
My nausea was there. I was starving. I'm like, can we get some food? I'm so hungry, and I feel nauseous because I'm hungry. So I'm like, why am I why am I experiencing these pregnancy symptoms if we're miscarrying? So there was a lot of emotions that surrounded that. I remember Ty and I had a conversation. We were like, well, at least we still have another embryo that we could try. But there was a lot of anxiety thinking about
it's the last one.
It's our last one.
If it doesn't work, then what?
Yeah, so there was just, it was a very emotional night. Very emotional night. So, again, just focusing on the positive right now. But there's a lot that goes into getting pregnant from IVF, like just getting there, and then the potential of losing that IVF pregnancy. It's so hard to think about. So we're feeling very grateful right now and very happy. And we did just announce the gender over on Instagram. And I think I've already said the gender here. I think I said he. It's a boy.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you really?
I did, but it's fine.
How many times did you slip it up through all this?
Oh, so many times. People are like, can you make a compilation of all of the times you've slipped up? And I'm like,
do, yeah.
I should. But one of the slip-ups was on Instagram Live, and I didn't save it. So that was like the big
And then some people are saying the shirt was not gender neutral or something.
Oh, because I guess your shoulders showed in the gender reveal, like right before I shared the gender, but I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, people could fast forward and see the gender.
I didn't realize. I thought it was like some baby clothes you showed or something.
No, I don't think so. I mean, everything I've shared is gender neutral prior to that. But I don't know. It's funny because like people like to think too. Like there's been times when people are like, oh, that's a boy because you did that. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Weird conclusions.
Yeah, I'm like, well, how did you like come to that conclusion? I guess I would have never expected that. But anyways, that is what we have been up to and why we missed last week's podcast. I was just in we had full intentions to film this, I think, last Wednesday, but we were
going to do it Monday, and then all this happened.
Well, and then we were going to do it Wednesday.
And then it was like...
Because Monday and Wednesday were our only days that we had, our daughter at camp, so we were like, we need, quiet time to film. And Wednesday, I was just like, Ty, I am not mentally there. I'm not emotionally there. I just need to, lay in bed and, relax.
Yeah, I was getting ready to record.
Yeah,
you were,
I did.
Just
I know.
not feeling it. And I was like, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, so...
You're pregnant. You're the boss right now, so...
Anyways, we're back.
You've definitely been dealing with, maybe you should talk about that, a little more nausea than you ever experienced with Scarlett.
I have. This pregnancy definitely feels different from Scarlett. The nausea stems from being hungry, and I pretty much am hungry all the time, so the nausea is pretty much always there, but... and I'm out of breath, so if I keep sounding like I'm out of breath, that is why, but... I think another thing I'm really dealing with right now that has been kind of hard for me to, I guess, deal with is I'm feeling like, I don't know what the words to use. Things aren't going how I hoped they would go in this pregnancy so far, so it's been kind of hard to be happy, I guess.
I think you should rephrase. I think what you're trying to say is
that does sound bad. I'm so happy I'm pregnant.
You're pregnant.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't feel pregnant. It hasn't set in yet. But then the other thing is
I can't do the things that were keeping
me. You can't exercise.
Yeah.
You can't.
What else? Sexual intercourse.
Yeah.
I'm on pelvic rest right now, and I'm not really supposed to lift anything over 10 pounds. Although I have been picking up Indy because I need to snuggle him. He's 9.5 pounds. Yeah. But just things that I really enjoy doing, I haven't been able to do. So I feel like my whole routine has been thrown off, and I keep thinking I really wanted to stay active throughout my pregnancy, and right now I can't be active, and I don't know. I guess it's just not going how I thought it would go. But that's pregnancy. I need to not. Yeah. I know I shouldn't be like this, but I'm also kind of disappointed with how things are going so far. But I'm also really, really grateful that I'm pregnant. So I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. But I think feeling those feelings are still valid, and it's just been kind of hard to process. I want my cake, and I want to eat it. I want to eat it too.
Well, and I always feel bad because I go to the gym almost every day. And I always feel bad. I'm I'm going to go to the gym.
You should feel bad. I miss going with you. It was our thing.
And then, I'll try to take Scarlett and stuff because she's been on spring break.
And then I'm just at home, and I'm well, I guess I'll just take a nap or something. Which
I know it's good for me. It's weird seeing you take naps again.
I know. The exhaustion's kicked in too, but I miss my routine, and I really wanted to stay active throughout this pregnancy, and I know there's still a chance I'll be able to. There's still a chance once this resolves, if it resolves, I'll be able to.
I feel at some point you'll be able to.
I hope so. I really do, because
it might not be relatively soon, but hopefully.
There's so many studies that show being active during your pregnancy is so good for the baby. What's it called?
Epigenetics.
Epigenetics.
Or certain genes will kick on, and and your baby will statistically be less prone to obesity and have just better health markers and just be healthier overall.
Yeah, so the whole exercise thing, it's not just for me. Obviously it is what I enjoy doing that helps me.
Well, it's not you're doing CrossFit or anything.
No.
It's you're doing
light weights and light cardio.
Just trying to stay fit while you're pregnant.
Yeah, I just want to keep the muscle mass, the muscle that I have, and also kick on those epigenetics so we can have a strong baby.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, it's definitely been hard adjusting to not being able to be active, and I'm scared to do anything. I'm scared to go walk around Target. I don't know, because there's such mixed info about hematomas. Some people get put on bed rest, some people just get put on pelvic rest. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it's been a struggle.
This whole time I've been surprised that there's not anything they can do.
So my OB did tell me to get on alpha lipoic acid, ALA is what it's commonly known as, and it's an antioxidant, and apparently it's supposed to help shrink the hematoma. quicker, like absorb it quicker. She says there's some studies that have shown that it does, but who knows? Who
But it's
actually
not
knows?
like, it's just like a supplement. It's not like a medication.
It's not a medication.
Yeah.
There's no medication that will cure this. Only time will tell. So it is what it is. Just, trying to be grateful for the moment, not dwell on everything, because I am grateful for this pregnancy and I'm grateful that I am still pregnant. So if I, can't do some things that I love right now, it is what it is. Anyways.
Just a drop in the bucket at a time.
Just a drop in the bucket at a time. So should we get on with the
marriage advice?
Yeah, the
Let's
marriage advice. So we just went to brunch, actually, Ty and I did, and we sat down and talked about what's important in our marriage and what we feel like has really made an impact on our second marriage.
Yeah, things we did wrong in the first and things we've done right in the second. And we're not perfect, but I feel like we've definitely turned things around big time.
Like counselors, therapists, we are just real people who have lived this and learned from our mistakes, and we want to share what has worked in our marriage to hopefully help anybody who's listening think a little bit differently and maybe not make the same mistakes that we made.
Okay, so we'll start with the first one, and it's really, the first tip is pretty obvious, but I think that it's easy to not do. But definitely go out of your way to speak kindly to your partner and about each other, especially to other people, to them, to your partner, but also to other people. I always like to brag about Caitlyn's success and stuff on YouTube and all of her platforms. And the big thing is always be on your partner's side, and always stand up for your partner.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really important, and I think this is something girls do more than guys. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong, but it's always uncomfortable for me whenever I'm around somebody who's talking poorly about their spouse. It is so important to speak to your partner kindly. It really goes a long way, and I think an example of that would be not necessarily getting frustrated with them, especially when company's around, or belittling them in ways, or making them feel embarrassed or
just inferior. That's just toxic behavior to anybody, whether it's your partner, your friend, or just somebody you just met. It's
right.
You don't want to be that way.
You don't want to talk about anybody that way. I guess what I was trying to say is sometimes girls get around and talk shit on their husbands or something.
He didn't take out the trash.
And I think there's
piece of crap.
right.
Not that it's that abrasive, but
there's
it can be.
a balance there. You should be able to confide in friends, but also it's not healthy to just sit there and talk so poorly about your spouse to anybody. Other than a counselor or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're ranting to your friends about your partner, whether you're a male or female, you should probably start talking to a therapist.
Probably, yeah.
There's definitely some underlying stuff.
I know my friends and I, we don't sit around and talk bad about our husbands.
Well, that's good.
I know, right? But I know women who have, and I've experienced other women who do that, and I am very uncomfortable in those situations. I've definitely done it in the past too, when we were going through our divorce and everything.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, for sure.
And I think I've learned through that experience how it's never okay to, you need to always be on their side regardless of what is going on, and some things just need to be kept between
and when you rant or complain about your partner to your friends or family, then they start to only see the bad things. And everybody's got flaws. Everybody's got character flaws, but they never see the good things. Then
you are so right.
And then all of a sudden they're jaded about your partner because they're like, oh, he doesn't take out the trash, or he doesn't whatever, And then it's they only see those negatives, and then they don't have any positives to counterbalance that.
For sure, you're totally right, and I think we've definitely been at fault for that in the past. Not in our new marriage.
I definitely feel like we're definitely on each other's team now.
Yeah, I feel like I could trust you no matter what.
Even if it's a small secret, you got to keep that secret. Don't tell your friends.
It's between the couple.
Yeah, because the minute you start, violating that trust, even as small as like tiny thing, it can like start to erode that foundation.
Right, and friends should never come between a partner. You know, in my eyes, I've learned this the hard way, but your partner should always come first. It should never be your friends. Your friends are wonderful, but at the end of the day, they're not your partner. And your partner needs to always come first.
100%.
What's the next one?
This one's a big one that I think we do pretty well at now. Make time alone a priority. So, like, no kids, create your boundaries, kind of focusing on your spouse, your partnership comes first. Trying to put into words, but yeah, go ahead.
I agree. I think this is something that I really struggled with when Scarlett was born. When she was born, I had trouble, and I think this is a new mom thing too. I don't think there's anything wrong with this, but I did have trouble leaving her or wanting to go on date nights with Ty without her. I just did not want to leave her. I wanted her to be part of everything.
Yeah, because I think it's multifactorial. It's like you have to put your partner first.
You do.
And set aside time to have that alone time. But also, I think it was hard for you to get someone to watch Scarlett because she was so little.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a new mom thing, and I just didn't want to leave her out. But looking back on that now, and I'm sure I'll experience that again with our second baby. I'm sure we will go through those same emotions, but I also now understand how important Ty and I's time together alone is. And without having that, you know, fundamental, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, we need that connection.
Yeah.
That is what keeps our
any
family.
Parent knows, like, when you have kids around, it's hard to, like, it's hard. You're not getting that quality time together, that bond, because you have to stop. You know, your kids asking for something every 5 seconds. We've all been there. All kids are like that.
We need that alone time. We need that connection, and we need that bond, and that is what sets the foundation for a family. If the couple is happy, the family is happy, and so your spouse has to come first. You have to put your spouse first. And I feel like it's always so hard when I hear people say this, you have to put your spouse before your kids, but take out like the fluffiness of it, and it's a factual statement. If the couple is not stable, if the couple is not happy, the kids are going to pick up on that. The family is going to pick up on that. It's so important to have that connection and that time set aside for the couple. Yeah,
and just like today, like my mom's watching Scarlett, so like we hung out last night a little bit. We had to take down the market stuff for Lollico, so that took up some of our evening. Then we went out to dinner, quick dinner, but then like today we went out to brunch, you know.
Just but we were doing like mundane,
it doesn't have to,
tasks.
That's a big thing about like making alone time part. It doesn't have to be
elaborate.
Definitely go on date nights where you get dressed up or whatever, go to a nice dinner, but it doesn't always have to be like that. I feel like people try to overcomplicate things.
Simplify the relationship. It does not need to be crazy expensive or you know,
just go on a walk together, go to a movie. You don't have to like,
or just stay at home and like hang out together. You know, kid free if you can.
Spend time together. Do whatever you want. There's no like rules. You know.
Go. I mean, there's a lot of times Ty's like, "Do you want to go to the gas station with me?" And I'm like, "No," but I do anyways because I'm like, it'd be good just for us to like have time together, because he always likes to get his morning Monster drink. Which is disgusting to me. I can't even stand the smell of it right now. I'm like, please put that away. But
it's my addiction.
It is.
Oh, and one more thing on that. I would say, like, if your partner wants alone time with you, don't make them feel bad for that. Like, don't make them feel like they're being a bad parent for wanting to get a babysitter or have grandma and grandpa watch the baby.
This sounds so bizarre, and I don't even know like why I ever felt this, but I remember when Ty would want to like just hang out with me when Scarlett was a baby, and like he'd say like, let's go get dinner together or something, and he would say like kid free or whatever, and I'd be like, but why can't we bring Scarlett? And I like in my mind I thought, you don't want her there. You don't want her there. You don't love her.
She would take it like I didn't like my kid. And it's like, no, it's just like, I mean,
I get it
taking
now.
an infant or a small young toddler to dinner
Sounds
is
miserable.
less peaceful than just going together, getting a babysitter, or grandma and grandpa watching it, and then going. It's like much more peaceful. Just us sit down, have a drink, have a nice dinner.
It is. I totally understand where he's coming from now, and I wish I would have understood that back then. But yeah, you are so right. It's
Wow,
I've
never heard you. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, right? I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately as we talk things out. I understand my flaws, and yeah,
I've
definitely.
got plenty of mine.
I know.
Um,
Anyways, next one.
This one's kind of typical you hear on these type of lists. Communicate issues in the moment before they escalate.
We had to put something about communication though, because it is so important.
Like little things, like don't let the little things bother you, but like if something does bother you, just bring it up. But it's all about the delivery to me.
Yes.
Like if I come to you like, hey, you said that the wrong way, what the hell? Like you gotta like bring it up in a nicer way. Like, hey, like I get where you're coming from, but when you said it like this, it kind of like upset me. Or like there's ways to like bring it up.
You have to kind of understand your partner's love language too. I think you have to kind of understand like how they need to receive feedback and how they respond to criticism, or not necessarily even criticism, but just communication and conversation. But I think the important part here is to communicate in the moment, not bottle things up, because in our first marriage, I didn't communicate with you, you didn't communicate with me, and then we'd have these explosive like arguments, not necessarily like loud screaming arguments, but we would just have everything.
We'd have fights. Not physical, obviously, but
not
like,
physical fights. Okay, that sounds bad.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to, we'd have arguments.
Very heated arguments.
Over dumb stuff.
But
it was everything else, the iceberg, everything under the surface that built up.
Exactly. And so we weren't communicating in the moment. And I think in the moment is the key word here. We weren't communicating in the moment, so things would bottle up and then we would just explode all at once. And it was not healthy for us. And now when we have an issue, we'll call each other out in the moment. And we still may get annoyed by the situation. It's not always like received well, but...
And sometimes you have to read the atmosphere of how you, like if your partner's heated or something, which we never really get like that. But like if your partner's heated, maybe give them 5 minutes. Maybe not an on the spot correction, not like in the moment right there is needed. Maybe get some space.
On the spot correction, is that from the Army?
Yeah. Maybe get some space and everybody calm down, and then be like, hey, we need to talk about this because something's going on.
Yeah, and usually now we have our conversation and it ends in us laughing about it.
How stupid it is.
How stupid it is,
like,
yeah.
The first world problems we have.
Yeah, but we, thankfully don't really have these issues anymore, and I think that's because we communicate in the moment.
So the next one, don't try to change your spouse.
Big one.
And the big thing about this to me is like you have to be happy with yourself. You can never rely on your partner to make you happy. You have to both be happy just in your own body.
Within yourself? It's getting deep.
Well, you know what I mean.
I know what you're saying. I'm just kidding.
Like,
you have to love yourself.
Yeah, you have to love yourself. You have to make yourself happy. You have to have your own things going on before you can like make each other happy. And I think it's kind of like a misnomer, like, oh, you have to find the person in life that's going to make you happy. I feel like
nobody's going to make you happy if you are not happy yourself. Yeah. I think is what you're trying to say.
One of the first therapists I ever went to when we were struggling, I think I said something like, I just don't know if Caitlyn is going to make me happy. And he like put me on this. He's like, that's bullshit. If you really think that like your partner's going to make you happy, like you're never going to find that. And I remember that. I was like, whoa. Like,
that stuck with you.
Yeah, and he sent me like an article. I'll have to find it, but he sent me an article explaining why that is. And it all comes down to like you have to like respect yourself and make yourself happy before,
Do I make you happy now?
Sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding.
Oh, wow.
Totally kidding.
Okay, so yeah, no, I completely agree. I feel like there was a good period of time in our early stage of our first marriage where I had expectations for what I thought marriage should be and what I thought Ty should be as a husband, and if he didn't fulfill those needs and, that expectation that I had, I would want him to do better or be better. And I think there's always, you can always challenge your partner to do better and be better, but you can't change them. You can't make them somebody that they're not. You can't make them a morning person if they're not a morning person, for example. Mm-hmm. Like, that's something I always struggled with Ty. He just does not.
I'm just cranky in the morning.
He's so cranky in the morning. He, like, hates life in the morning. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why are you in such a bad mood? He's like, I just woke up. And I'm like, but why are you so angry?
Yeah, and she's the exact opposite.
Total opposite.
And we know that now.
Yeah, like, don't talk to me at night.
And, like, in the evenings, yeah, and it's vice versa. You're like... Yeah, you're
I'm
like
cranky in the evenings.
Ready to pass out, and I'm just like watching TV, wanting to have a full-on conversation.
Yeah, I'm like, why are you so much energy at night?
Why are you so chipper right now?
But that's just like something I had to accept about him. It's like one of those. It's not a flaw, but it's just a characteristic of him. He just does not like mornings, and I do. And I wake up early, and he likes to sleep in, and it is what it is. Mm-hmm. So you gotta accept those things about each other.
Mm-hmm. But it's also like if I'm sleeping in until noon every day, which I don't. That would be a problem. But like,
I'd be saying, what are you doing with your life?
But yeah, reasonable time.
Okay, so for marriage tip number 5, I
don't think I've been numbering them.
Oh, well, that's okay. I just numbered it so it give us a reference. It is so important to validate each other's feelings and not invalidate each other. So I remember when we were in counseling, I
had never even heard of that before counseling.
Really?
Yeah, I'd never
Maybe
even
that's
heard about
where I learned.
Validating like how someone's feeling.
Yeah, so we did exercises where we would validate each other's feelings, and it definitely helped, although we were kind of like smart asses about it too.
We were. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, that's not great.
Like, I would be like, Ty, I validate that you're being an asshole today.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is a serious thing, though. It is very important to validate how the other person's feelings, because feelings are facts, and if somebody's feeling a certain way, there's a reason they're feeling like that, and you shouldn't ever make them feel bad for feeling the way that they're feeling. And it's okay to disagree, but as long as you can respect where each other is coming from, I think that's like the most important part. So yeah, validation is huge. And I think an example of that would be, like, let's do an example. So let's say, well, we always talk about the trash because this is always a hot topic for us. So let's say, like, you didn't take out the trash for 2 days, and I'm not about to touch the trash. So I came to you and I was like, Ty, I am really concerned because you have not been taking out the trash, and this is like one of your chores to do around the house, and I'm getting really frustrated. So how would you respond?
What I would say is, to validate what you just told me, is that I know you're frustrated that I haven't been taking out the trash. And the big thing about validation, you're not supposed to apologize, because it's not the time and place for it. So I'd say, like, I know you're frustrated that I haven't been taking out the trash. I'm going to take it out right now, and I'm going to stay on top of it the rest of the week. And
that simple statement right there would...
And that might not be the exact definition of validation, but it's like...
That's how we
the whole thing is, like, you can only say sorry so many times before it just loses its value. I think. I'm not a therapist, but I think that it's like, if I just said, oh, I'm sorry, then you'd be like, then just do it. Like, what? Like,
Right. Yeah, no, the fact that he's recognizing how I'm feeling, and I think that in a majority... I think in a situation like that, majority of women would want the recognition and the validation of their feelings. And in that statement, he's giving me that validation and reassuring me that this is going to get done. And so I feel like that statement alone would make me feel better and de-escalate my frustration. So little things like that for sure. Marriage advice number 6.
So this is a big one. We've talked about this before, I believe.
This is my favorite one.
Yeah. And I think I just used it on you the other day. So
Did you?
I think so. So whenever somebody is like ranting or complaining about something, like your partner is, instead of just like giving them solutions or just telling them what you want to tell them, sometimes it's better to just ask, like, hey, do you want sympathy? Like, do you want me to tell you, I'm sorry you're going through that, blah, blah, blah. Or do you want solutions? Like, how can we fix this? Because those are two different types of things. And sometimes when I'm ranting, especially, sometimes Caitlyn gives me solutions. I don't want solutions. I know how to correct this.
I'm a solution person.
I'm frustrated because it's my own fault. I just want sympathy right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really healthy way to approach it.
It's helped us a lot in, like, when I get frustrated with something, like with work or, I don't know, around the house or, I don't know, so whenever something comes up and he's there with me and he doesn't know how to respond, he asks me, do you want sympathy or solution? And most of the time I say sympathy because I can think of solutions myself. And I just want the sympathy.
I think most of the time when you ask, it's going to be sympathy with your partner.
Yeah. So it's
if I had to guess, because most of the time, like, because sometimes when you're like telling people solutions, it comes across as like,
have you not thought of this? Have you not thought? And like, I'm like, I've already thought of all of these solutions.
No, I get it, but like, I just want sympathy right now.
Yeah, but you guys should try this.
Everybody needs that person to kind of just rant to.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that's healthy to some degree.
This is seriously, though, one of the best things we've added into our relationship, I guess.
And a lot of times we don't even have to like ask it. It's just kind of like recognizing that you can, like, if I come at her with solutions when she's upset about something, it's probably not what she's really looking for in me.
Right.
At least right now.
Right,
like,
right.
So then I'll just, give you the sympathy card.
Appreciate that. Yeah. What was the example, though? You said you just used this on me. I can't think of an example recently at all.
Oh, I think I was being a smartass when you were nauseous. You were laying on the couch.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's right.
She's been nauseous. We talked about, with pregnancy, and whenever she's nauseous, as soon as she eats, it kind of goes away for a little bit. And I looked at her. I was like, "Hey, do you want sympathy or solutions?" Because
I think I just looked at him and rolled my eyes.
Yeah, I was like, "We got a cupboard full of food. Like, let's figure this out."
Wait, didn't you make me oatmeal? Wasn't that when I was vlogging?
Yeah. Maybe that. Yeah, because I ended up making
you made me oatmeal, and something. Everything went away.
Gourmet chef here making instant oatmeal.
All was good in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, marriage advice number 6. Okay, so this one we don't want to come off wrong, but we do feel like it's a very important thing, especially in our relationship. But it's to stay in tune with self-care. So we don't want this to be taken as like a materialistic type of thing. This means more like exercising regularly, eating well, getting enough sleep, taking care of yourself.
Taking care of yourself is a big one.
Making dentist appointments and going, to take care of things at the doctor if you need to. By investing in yourself and your own well-being, it shows your partner that you want to be at your best for them. So the way we see it is, if we can take care of ourselves, then we can take care of each other, and we can take care of the family. If we're healthy, then we can, do the things we want to do as a family. So, for example, we love to go hiking. We love to go camping. We love to do things outside. And in order to fulfill those things we like to do, we need to stay active. We need to be healthy. And that's just one example, I guess. So it's important for us to exercise and stay fit so we can keep up with doing the activities that we love. I personally, and I don't know if this is the way for everybody, but there's days where I'm like, okay, I don't feel my best, and if I don't feel my best, I know it's going to affect the rest of my day. So if I just get up and take a shower and not necessarily like do full hair and makeup, but put on a little makeup, brush my hair, I'm going to feel a lot better about the day.
I find that, like, if I go work out, if I'm running, eating healthy, everything else in life just seems to be easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Like, I feel the same way.
The endorphins you get from running help. Just you feel better about yourself. You're working towards something.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel the same way. Not only does like exercising relieve stress for me, it makes me feel better about myself, and it feels like I'm doing something good for my body, and I'm more productive. But it's not just about exercise. It's just about taking care of yourself, making sure you're sleeping, going to bed like you're supposed to.
Sleep is so important.
Right.
And you got to think, like, not only just with your partner. I know we're talking about marriage advice, but like, you want to see your kids grow old too, or your kids see you grow old. Like, you want to be there for everything. So you got to take care of yourself. Health is the most important thing ever, and I feel like not enough people talk about it.
Well, and we see a bigger picture. So what we're doing today hopefully affects us in the long term. Working out, eating healthy today hopefully helps us stick around longer to be there for our kids. And so we're just trying to take care of ourselves the best way that we can. And we think it's a very important part of a marriage, whatever that looks like to you. We're not saying you need to go to the gym every single day and you need to get 12 hours of sleep every single night, but whatever that looks like to you, whatever self-care looks like to you, it should be prioritized. Marriage advice number 8.
Prioritize intimacy.
So yeah, intimacy is definitely important to both Ty and I, but I definitely think it's more important to you, or more necessary to you,
how would you define intimacy?
Intimacy is, okay, I think initially when people think intimacy, they immediately think sex, which sex is a big part of a relationship, but intimacy isn't just sex to me. Intimacy is hand-holding, communication, connection, snuggling on the couch together with my hair in your face.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. And I think intimacy is just the connection, the bond, those late night conversations, those little moments all make up intimacy. And so I think the physical part of intimacy is important to you. Also, the emotional side of it. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I think for me, the emotional side is, and probably most women, the emotional side of intimacy is more important to me than the physical side of it. But the physical side of it's still important too.
Yeah, well, I think that's true for men too. It's just we don't probably admit it as much.
Sure.
Definitely you want to be desired.
Yeah.
You want to be attractive to your partner.
Right.
And I don't think men admit that as much. Talking about sex, having sex with somebody that is your partner, that you love, that you have a deep connection with, is really much more fulfilling than having sex with someone you don't know.
Right. That's, absolutely. Somebody you care about.
Yeah, it's more different. Yeah.
Right. Right. No, I agree. We say prioritizing intimacy because there are times where life gets ahead of you. You're tired. I mean, we have multiple businesses we run. I'm a mom. I'm pregnant. First of all, we are on pelvic rest. Intimacy looks a little different for us right now, but we still, even right now, we are still making effort and time for intimacy in different ways. Getting creative and Okay. I'm I see where you're going with this, and it's not what you think. There is no backdoor action happening.
Yeah, well, that would be...
That door is closed and not opening.
That's pretty close to the pelvic area, so...
Yeah, okay. Anyways, this is... Sorry, Mom, if you're listening to this. This is getting too much for me. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is we make it a priority to put each other first. I understand Ty's needs are a lot more higher than mine.
on the sexual side.
On the sexual side, and so I understand that's something he needs fulfilled. Does this sound bad? I don't want this to sound bad.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think it's bad at all.
So
but I'm biased. So.
Of course you don't think it's bad.
No, but I feel like there's probably a lot of couples out there that don't prioritize each other.
It's
whether
important
one
for
partner
me,
is more sexual than the other partner.
Right.
And then life gets in the way, you're stressed out, you're tired, you got kids.
Right.
It's you have to go out of your way.
Yes.
To have I know we're talking about intimacy, but on the sexual side,
sexy time. You have to go out of your way to do it.
Sexy time, yeah. And I feel sometimes, it's a lot more important to one partner than the other.
But
and I think, I don't know.
I want to make you.
Do it. Yeah.
I want to make you happy though too. I want you to be, your needs to be fulfilled in a realistic way. And I think you reciprocate the same to me in different ways as well. And so it's not one-sided. It may sound like it's not a one-sided thing. Obviously, I still want to be intimate too. I don't want this to come off wrong. I feel like this could be taken wrong. But what I'm trying to say is sometimes it just needs to be prioritized, and things, intimacy needs to occur regardless of what is going on in the day. You and your partner need that time. And sometimes that's what's missing that you don't realize is missing. I know there's been days where I'm like, I'm so tired. Like, I just want to go to sleep. I want to be like alone. I don't want to be touched. Like, I'm touched out. Like, I want to be in my own space. And, Ty comes in, we start cuddling. And I'm like, okay, I actually really needed this. Like, I didn't realize I really needed this, like, physical touch from you today. And so it's something that, like, surprises me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. I don't want anything to come off wrong.
I have to turn on the charm.
Turn on the charm, okay.
No,
yeah, but it's sometimes it surprises you if you're like, okay, maybe this is what I needed today and I didn't realize it. But we believe that intimacy is a huge part in a relationship, whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah.
And you have to just make time for it.
Anytime you talk about, like, sexual stuff, I feel like a lot of people get weird, like you shouldn't do it if you don't want to.
Yes,
and
that's
we're
what
not
I'm
saying, like, don't,
yeah.
like, don't do, if you really don't want to, don't, but, like,
right.
Also, like, sometimes you gotta, you probably should do things for your partner.
Yeah.
Even if you're not, like, totally feeling it. Like,
there's times when I'm
TMI,
like, Ty, no,
yeah.
no, not tonight.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, but then there's been times where, like TMI, but, like, you're jumping my bones, and I'm like, oh, I just got, like, I don't know, like, maybe,
whatever. When have you ever told me no?
I'm not. There has been times where I'm like, I'm just not feeling it.
Has there? Because I literally can't think of any.
Not very seldomly, but like, yeah, like, don't do anything you don't want to, but, like, it's also just, like, treat your partner every once in a while. Yeah. I don't know, like, I think that's, like, healthy.
I think it's healthy too.
Yeah.
I do, and I think it's just it's all about balance. If you don't feel like your needs are getting met, and your needs are not, like, physical needs or sexual needs, then that's a different conversation to have. Anyways, moving on to marriage advice number 9.
This one's pretty important to me. Like, give each other space when needed.
Yeah.
Like, you don't, like we talked about, always make time for each other and, like, alone time away from the kids. But also sometimes, like, you just need your alone time. Like, I definitely, like, get like, recharge like, when I get alone time. Like, if I go to the gym by myself, I just zone out with my AirPods in. I just kind of, like, listen to music, and I feel like afterwards I'm a better partner, I'm a better dad. You've never came home from the gym in a bad mood. I've never thought about that. That's probably
You've
true.
always came home in a great mood.
Yeah, and that's
happy, excited.
And that's just one example.
High
like,
energy.
sometimes, like, for you, like, you've been at home a lot, not on bed rest, but you're supposed to take it easy. So, like, I'll take Scarlett to the gym, or I'll take her somewhere just to give you kind of some downtime.
I hate it. I want to be with you at the gym.
I know, but that's just, like, an example.
I know.
What's another example for you, like, alone time or space?
Well, I really love sleeping in the bed by myself. So Ty has his own bedroom.
People are gonna think we're, like, full of crap, that we're not even, like, in love with each other.
It's so true, though. Our spare bedroom is Ty's bedroom, and that's where he sleeps.
Yeah, well, so there's something about our bedroom. It's not that it gets, like, overly hot. It's like the sheets we have on the bed, they're too heavy.
I love
and the
heaviness.
comforter is too much.
I love them.
And I just sweat. I get so hot in there. Even, like, I don't know. And then, yeah.
We just have different sleep. Like, I like heavy blankets. I need, like, a weighted blanket or something to sleep with.
Then I'll go to our spare bedroom, and, like, sometimes I'll open up the window in the middle of the night, and it's, like, super chilly in there.
We should do that in our room. I would love that.
Would you?
Yeah, I would love that. Did we just compromise?
This whole time?
I would love it if you open the window.
That's really, it's not that I don't want to sleep in the same bed as you. It's literally that
I've never thought that.
No, I know.
Okay.
I get so hot, and then I just get frustrated.
You have trouble sleeping already on top of that.
Yeah.
And I typically do not, but now that we haven't been sleeping together, when you do sleep in the bed, I have trouble sleeping.
Yeah, I know.
We've got to get this figured out, because...
There's, like, the one night I slept in there, you're like, I slept like crap last night.
I'm so sorry. But we've got to get it figured out, because his bedroom, I'm using, like, air quotes right now, is going to be baby boy's room. Yeah, so that room is going to be gone here sooner rather than later.
I mean, for now, we could open up the window, but summertime comes in Phoenix. It's going to be hot.
Yeah.
But I'll be fine.
So, yeah, all jokes aside, we love each other very much, but we do sleep in separate beds. See, the own space, it really works. I promise you.
Well, and the other thing, like with space, it used to be, like in our first marriage, it was like, in the evenings, it was like, if we weren't attached at the hip, I feel like you got upset.
Yeah, and I think it's because I didn't see you as much.
That's true. That's a good point.
That's
a fair point.
Our dynamic is so different now that you don't work a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
We have all of this opportunity to spend more time together, and I know this isn't normal. This is a privilege that we are in, you know, and it's something that has been wonderful for our relationship, but I know not every family is like this. There's, you know, most families work 9 to 5 jobs, come home in the evening, they're tired, they have kids, they have dinner, and it's a different, like, I think it's important to recognize the differences there, but these things can still work.
Yeah, but I would say even
different.
when I was working my 9 to 5, it was definitely different than our first marriage.
Definitely.
Before I left. I mean, we were in this house too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we still made it work when you were working a 9 to 5 in our second marriage. Like, everything was, we definitely still implemented these things, but it's easier now for us to have time together and do things together because you're not as exhausted from work or, you know. I think also this topic, the give each other space when needed, kind of applies to hobbies and friends as well. And like, I'll always encourage Ty to spend time with friends if he ever gets the opportunity, and he does the same for me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, you gotta have like your girls' nights with your friends and stuff. I think that's.
It's never been like, he's never made me feel bad for spending time with friends, and I would never do that to him as well.
So the last one on our list is expect and accept your partner to change.
Yep. We are not the same people we were. How many years have we been together?
7?
I don't know. Something like that. 7 years ago? Yeah. We are totally different people.
Yeah, like 7.5 years, yeah.
With totally different views and totally different ideas of what our future is going to look like. Completely different careers. Completely different mindsets. Yeah,
and it's like, and everybody kind of grows up, so to speak, especially like the age we met. Like, I was 25, you were 23. So I think I'll always be pretty stubborn, but I feel like I'm less stubborn than I ever have been.
Yeah, you definitely give a little more. Yeah, but it is important. When you marry somebody, you can't expect them to be the same person they are that day in 30 years.
Yeah.
Because nobody should be the same person they were. We grow, we learn as we grow older, and it's important to accept those changes about your partners. What remains constant is the values and the morals of that person.
You can't like we've talked about, you can't force someone to change. You can't like mold them into like the perfect husband or wife. Probably a lot of spouses out there try to do that to their partner when that's just not going to happen. But like, it doesn't mean that they can't change for good. It just, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you should always, I mean, kind of like I said earlier, you should always want to be a better person. Like, everybody should always strive to do better, and we should support our partners being able to make those changes to be a better person, but they shouldn't have to change necessarily who they are to fit your mold, to fit your needs. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of like what I'm thinking this as. You should encourage them to do better, but you shouldn't encourage them to fit the mold you have for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So those are our top 10 marriage tips, and I feel like those are all very, very important in relationships, specifically in ours, and I feel like we're speaking a lot from experience here. And again, we're not therapists. We're just...
Yeah, this is just stuff that...
personal experience.
Honestly, most of those we've learned the hard way. So.
Yeah, definitely. And we're not perfect. We still have our issues. A lot of these things we're still working through. So, you know, we have our own struggles and definitely still work through a lot of these marriage tips that we talked about today.
But I think we're going to call it on that note.
Yep. Thank you guys for listening. And we are back to our normal Tuesday schedule. So we will see you next Tuesday.
All right.
Bye.
See you guys later.
follow along with us more, we would love that. Follow us over on YouTube and Instagram at The Modern Mom and Dad Podcast to interact with us, ask us questions, and to see behind the scenes. Thanks for listening to the Modern Mom and Dad Podcast, and we will see you next Tuesday.